everyone. Today I'm doing a review of Narnia, the board game of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Okay, so we'll get the boring stuff out of the way first. This movie was put out by Disney, Pix, and Walden Media. Now, I don't know, the board game was put out in 2005 by Hasbro, but it's a Milton Bradley game, so I don't know if that means Hasbro owns Milton Bradley, or it was a joint effort or something. It's recommended for ages 8 and up. Excuse me. It was made in the US, but the game and tokens were made in China. The UPC is 653-569-090793. It has 2 to 4 players, and on the box they had a site, a website for MiltonBradley.com. I got this because I really love board games. I did watch the movie. It was okay. I wasn't really into it, and I've never read. I believe this was written by C.S. Lewis, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I never read the series. It's one of those things I might do it, but the concept's not really quite my thing, so I've never gotten around to it just yet. Anyway, but I do love board games, but when I start buying, I buy a lot of board games, and then there comes a point when I no longer have room to store them, so then I have to go through my collection and decide which games I like better than others, and Narnia lost out. So that's why I'm doing a review, because we're going to sell it on eBay soon. Anyway, it does have a very nice cover. You can see the lamppost with Lucy on it. There's Aslan the lion, and then you've got the White Witch being pulled by polar bears. And then there's Peter, Edmund, and Susan. That's the front. And then this is the back. And on the back, it enter the enchanted world, jump into the wardrobe, and join Peter, Susan, Edmund, Lucy on an exciting race through the magical world of Narnia. Be careful, the White Witch is chasing after you, and will turn you to stone if she catches up. The wolves are on the prowl, and if they find you, they could set you back also. If you're lucky, you may run into the mighty lion Aslan, who could help you get ahead. Be the first player to make it back to the lamppost, and you win. I've been very proud of the fact that even though I've had this board game for 12 years, I've managed to keep it totally complete. It's got its instructions, which are a little wrinkly, but not, they're still in good readable condition. Nothing's missing. And what's even more amazing is I've managed to keep the 60 Aslan tokens and the 40 sword cards and the 40 event cards. So that's something I'm proud of. On the inside, you've got this cardboard insert that shows the characters. Jump into the wardrobe and experience the enchanted world of Narnia. One day, during an innocent game of hide-and-seek, a curious child named Lucy Pevensie ducked into an ancient wardrobe and found a marvelous yet dangerous world called Narnia on the other end. When she returned home, anxious to tell her 3 siblings about her adventures, they all laughed and thought her tale was nonsense. But one day, when Edmund, Susan, and Peter all followed their little sister into the closet, they found her story was true. Behind all the coats were beautiful snow-lined trees and a mysterious land filled with interesting creatures. What they experienced in Narnia was far more than a journey. It was a new beginning. Okay, and then they show Peter here. Peter, aged 15, is the oldest of the Pevensie children. He always looks after his younger siblings and their well-being. He is honest and upright and takes things very seriously. When Peter is told he is to become the king of Narnia, his responsibility to the land and its survival become his first priority. Susan. Susan is the oldest of the Pevensie children. She is very logical and realistic to the point that her siblings are often annoyed. which is why, even when she's walking through Narnia, she doesn't quite believe it's real, and she certainly doesn't believe she was called there to save the country and become its queen. Edmund. Edmund is the younger of the two Pevensie boys. He is known for his charm, rebelliousness, and desire to defy his older brother. Edmund betrays his siblings and is cast under the spell of the wicked White Witch of Narnia, but eventually he returns to home. He returns to become a selfless warrior. Lucy. Lucy is the youngest of the four Pevensie children and perhaps the most trusting and open of the siblings. She has a great belief in the good of all things and was the first in her family to enter the wardrobe and the land of Narnia. Her magical sensitivity to everything around her adds to her very understanding and caring nature. Okay, so here we've got the instructions. And there's 60 Aslan tokens. And that's what they look like on the other side. And then you have the character cards for each character. And each character has its own pawn. This is Lucy. And Susan. Edmund. And Peter. And, okay. So when you start out with the game, each person gets 3 Aslan tokens and a character card. Now, why you need the Aslan, okay. Excuse me. Why you need the Aslan tokens is to activate the character's special abilities. Each character has a different ability. I'll read Lucy's. Lucy pays 1 Aslan token to add 1 to any dice roll of any player's turn, and she can add 2 Aslan tokens to, or she can pay 2 to add 2 to any die on her player's turn. Some of the characters, their special abilities affect them. Others, like with Lucy, her abilities affect other people. Why would you want to affect your opponents? Well, if they roll a number and a white witch or wolf lands on you, then it might help to pay a token to have them re-roll. So, or to make it, make it so they don't land on you. Okay, so here's the board game. The character tokens start at the lamppost. And then you have the White Witch here, and she starts out here at her castle. And then there's 4 wolf tokens, and they start at each of these event spaces. Then you've got your sword cards and your event cards. So, first you've got your dice. And each turn you roll 2 dice. The 1 dice you have to roll is the Wolf Witch die. And this moves the witch or the wolf. Usually, the cards might make you move all 4 wolves at once, but in most cases, you move the wolf closest to you. The witch goes after the closest character. You always move her in the direction of the closest character. So you always have to roll that, and you roll them the amount that's shown on the die. So, wolf or the witch. Then you've got your you can choose to roll the movement die, which moves your character around the board. Or you can roll the white dice, which you roll for Aslan tokens. And you need Aslan tokens not only to activate your special abilities, but also to help you if you fall victim to the White Witch and the wolves, which I'll get to. The lamppost is both the beginning and the end. You start there, you go around the board, and then that's the end. The first person to wind up there wins the game. You'll notice that there's a path here that goes to the White Witch Castle. That's only usually used by the White Witch. The characters are normally not going to go down that path unless they're directed by a card. So, you'll notice that some of the flagstones have swords on them. When you land one of these, you pick a sword card, and sword cards have various instructions, like the White Witch turns Fox and the Satyrs to stone. Sorry folks, I don't always know how to pronounce things. Lose 2 Aslan tokens. Okay. So, you know, that wasn't a very beneficial. So I think some of them can help you too. Then you notice these little purple stones. You head in the direction of Mr. Thomas's house when you're starting the game. Now, even if you have more movement on the dice, like let's say Mr. Thomas's house is two moves away and you rolled a 6, you have to stop there, you know, even if you have more. And when you stop there, you pick an event card. And the event card has its own instructions, like this one. Roll the movement die, which is the blue die. If you roll a 1 or 2, you're caught, lose 2 Aslan tokens. If you roll a 3 or 4, you escape, roll, and move. If you roll a 5 or 6, you win, collect 3 Aslan tokens. At that point, unless you manage to get the one that tells you to move, whether you lose Aslan tokens or you gain them, your turn pretty much ends. So that's how it works. You roll this die, you move the witch or the wolf, depending on which one you do, and then you have this to collect. You can roll this die to collect Aslan tokens, or you can roll the movement die to continue on. Now, what happens if the witch lands on you? You get turned to stone, and you have to have 4 Aslan tokens to free yourself from being turned into stone. If a wolf lands on you, you lose 2 Aslan tokens per wolf. So if you have all 4 of these guys land on you, you'll lose 8 tokens. Unless you are Edmund and have... Is it Edmund? Oh no, it's Peter. Yeah, Peter has abilities to survive a wolf attack. But now, most of the time you shouldn't be hit by more than 1 wolf, because most of the time only one's being used. But every so often in the game, because the cards direct you to move, or because other players are moving them, you can be hit by several wolves or the witch. And then you have to pay. Well, what if you don't even start out with 4 Aslan tokens? So what happens? Then you stay turned to stone, or until you roll this die to get enough tokens. Now, the instructions are pretty good, but they didn't cover everything. So that one thing I don't like about this game is that it does require some interpretation on your part of what you're supposed to do in certain situations that are not covered by the rules. So let me see. Okay, and I think that pretty much covers everything about the game. And it's a good thing, because this is about 13 minutes long. So I hope you've enjoyed this review, and stay tuned for more videos.